Welcome to Ratals.com tutorials part 4, setting up your site into an e-commerce store. In the last video, we finished off here on our cart page and we had to turn all of our pages back on because they were off from having a blog. But now that we have them all back on and we added a couple items, we're going to proceed to checkout. And when we go to proceed to checkout, remember we're going to use our email address if we check out with a username and with a password to create an account. It's going to use this as our username and our password. But in this situation, we're going to check out as a guest because in later videos, we're going to show you how to attach an existing order that doesn't have an account to an account that a customer might create because they decide they do want to log in and check out, or they do want to log in and see their order. Because you can see here that it says, while checking out as a guest is acceptable, we highly recommend creating an account so you can log in and track your order. Well, sometimes people will come back or customers will come back later and say, I do want to do that, and they're not able to. You'll also notice a couple other payments here for debit and credit card, PayPal, and checkout by mail. I went in and I added, during the break between these two videos, I went in and set up authorized.net. And the way I did that is I went into our card payment types here, authorized.net, and I just filled in debit/credit card. And I put in my username, transaction key, signature key that authorized.net will give you when you have an account with them. And I set it up as test mode because this is a sandbox. These are credentials for a sandbox account that I have. If you have a live credentials, you'd want to set this up as live. Okay. I also set up PayPal because in PayPal, I have a sandbox account with them. So I put in my credentials for them, set it up as test, because it is a test account or a sandbox account as well. So if you have a PayPal account where you can take payments, you'd put those credentials in here, which would give you your PayPal options. So now we can see check a debit/credit card, which you see you can name that anything you want over here on this page when you're setting it up. And it allows them to be able to put a credit card in and use their billing information if they would like. But we're not going to check out with the credit card in this video, but then you can also check out with PayPal because it's set up. And when you do, it's going to place the order, redirect them over to PayPal to make the payment, and then bring them back to the site. So what we're going to do is we actually are going to check out in this scenario with PayPal. We'll cancel it as soon as we get over to PayPal to come back, but we'll be able to see the order. So we're not going to create an account so that we can add items to the cart again. Because remember, when we go to PayPal, it's actually going to place the order and we're going to expect the payment. So we're going to go ahead and leave it on PayPal. Lastly, actually, we'll just look at this check by mail. I added these details just a little bit more so it looks better in this video here. But you can see make check payable to Ratals Inc., mail check to, and it gives the address where you can mail it, and then any other instructions you might want to add into this. So that you can use that format if you want to. It just looks kind of nice to be able to have it that way. And to see that code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go over to our admin area, and we're going to go into our payments. And here's how you can see how I set it up just now. And that's what the code looks like if you want to set it up like that. To give you an idea, if you don't know how to code, that's how it's set up, okay? Whereas some paragraphs around it with some strong tags, breaks, and so on, okay? So that it ends up looking like this. Now, perfect. So we're gonna, so if we did it check by mail and we hit place order, that's just gonna have us just check out and say on the receipt to the customer when we email them saying, yeah, thanks for your order, it's just gonna say, please send us your check. But in this situation, we're gonna make it PayPal, and we're going to actually submit an order. So we'll go ahead and hit place order, and this should redirect us over to PayPal, which it did. And now we can see where we can log in with our PayPal account. But if we now go over into our admin area, let me close out some of these that we don't need anymore. And I don't think this. So I also set up real quick UPS, which we'll put on an item here shortly so we can see what it looks like bringing back rates. And I also set up USPS, but we don't need those for the moment. So I'm going to go into customers, orders, and now we can see that we did get an order here and it says pending payment for PayPal, right? And so if we go into the order, we can see that the payment type was PayPal, and it shows the transaction ID, but they haven't paid anything yet because PayPal hasn't sent back the verification saying, yes, they paid. But this is the transaction ID that was created by PayPal through their API. And so if we log in and make the payment, then it's going to push back to us, and we'll put the payment amount here of how much they actually paid. That's why it still says not paid, even though there's a transaction ID, because PayPal creates a transaction ID that the payment's going to be made on, which then they send back to us when it's paid and how much was paid. Okay, so but we're just going to hit cancel. We're not going to log in and make this payment. And so it takes us back to Ratals demo where it says order canceled. And if I hit refresh, and you can see now it's canceled. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and go back to our store, which I don't think we actually made a link to the store up here. So let's actually do that so we can get to the store. So I'm going to go into our design menus. I think we just click the link on the category page to go directly to the category to get to it. And so we're going to go into our header menu, and we're going to go ahead and add in here just we'll call it store. How about that? And I think we called it store category. Is that right? Right there, store category. So now it's going to link to our store category, and it'll be in our header. We'll hit save, but we don't want it before our homepage. So if we hit refresh, we don't want it up front like that. We're going to put it after home. So we'll drag this down, put it like that, hit refresh. Perfect. Now we can get back to our store page. And what we're going to do now though is we're going to go ahead and check out like this. And there's our item. And we already checked out without creating an account. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an account. So we'll go ahead and just put in here our details of where this is going to ship to, our shipping information, and for it to get the number for our VAT or tax, whatever we're on. Let's see, support at ratalsdemo.com. Right, and we'll just do 1, 2, 3, something lane, city, United States, Utah. And we'll do a phone number of 000000000. Good enough. We'll say we're a residence, and we'll hit continue. Shipping is of course free. So with this item number, if I look right here, we can see we're item number 1062. Let's go switch this so it'll get a rate really quick on this inventory item. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our admin to this 1062, and we'll click here. We're going to go to our purchasing, and we're going to go to our inventory, and we're going to look up 1062 because that's what we have in our cart, and we're going to change the type of shipping that's on this so we won't be free. We're going to go ahead and change it to use USPS because I set that up with credentials so it'll get a live rate. We'll go ahead and hit refresh. Now, when I reload this, you can see it actually went to the USPS and it got a rate for us. And so now we're seeing it's not free anymore. We're actually seeing a rate here. And so if we add a second item in here, so if we go back to our store, and let's just go down here and go to page 5, and we'll just grab this item here, add that in. And that one still says free on it, remember, because we didn't put USPS on 130, we only put it on this item. So now we have one item that's free and one that's going to charge us for a total of $9.19. So you can see how it can actually separate it, and you'll notice how it separates it, each shipping type, into its own bucket. So this is everything that's going to be free. So if we added a second free item in here, it's going to put it inside this section with one underneath, where if we added another USPS in here, it's going to put it right underneath this item inside this same area here. And so, but what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and continue. And this time we will create a username to be able to log into the backend so we can see what it looks like after we check out. And so let's go ahead and create a username to be able to log in. And we'll go ahead and check out by mail this time. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit place order. And now this is order number 2. One thing to note here on our order numbers is that the dash, the only place the dash is going to be in the order number is separating the row ID from the database from the string of numbers that we put on the end here. So in the database, this is really row number 2 or order number 2 is the core order number. But to make it look like you're not order number 2 or order number 1 when you're first getting started, we add this dash, string of numbers to the end of it. But really we know, hey, you're order number 2. But when we go into our orders now, if we go back over to our customers, orders, and because we created ourselves as a customer, if we go in our customer account, we can see our customer account there. And if we go here into our orders, we can now see that we have an order that hasn't been paid because we said by check. And so we'll go into this. And so we're waiting for a check to show up. It shows us our whole order here. And it shows us our profit margin of what we're making on the order. So because we ordered one of these and one of these at a landed cost of $2 and $2, so that's 2 items at $2 each. That's a total landed cost of $4. Our shipping was $8.35, and our order cost for our total was $12.35. So we take, or that's our total cost. I'm sorry, our total landed cost. So we take our total landed cost of $12.35 minus what the customer paid. So we made $2.82 on this. And if we divide what the customer paid divided by, I guess it's you take how much you made divided by what the customer paid times 100, we made 18.59% margin. Not profit. Profit and margin are very different, right? So margin, and of course it doesn't calculate in our tax or VAT. It's just the 1517, and our tax and VAT is down here because we just passed that on. That's not ours, right? So it shows you exactly how much margin, everything you made on the order. Okay. Now over here inside of our warehouses, this is where once the order has shipped, we can put in our order number right here to say it's shipped. Now you notice it said free here for the warehouse that it allocated to. And again, you can go in here and you can allocate the order to any warehouse. So if you have a whole bunch of warehouses, you can split it up. You can do all kinds of stuff in here. But it allocated this one item to our warehouse 1 that we created, and this item to our warehouse 1 that it created. And you'll notice that it says none selected by customer for the carrier because the free shipping is not a carrier. It's just free, right? But our carrier that we created in earlier videos is going to be my custom carrier, because remember we wanted to put our URL on that so that we can put our tracking number in here and send it to our customer. Okay, and so what we'll do is we're just going to go ahead and say that this shipped. So I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of H's on this. We're going to say it shipped from that carrier. We're going to say it shipped all in the same package, all this together, because they're both inside this same warehouse. And so you'll notice if we hit save though, it's going to make, it doesn't save both of them. It's going to make us put it back down here and hit save. Now this one's set up as USPS because that's what it shipped as, remember, because they actually got a quote for this one, but this one was free. And so you can see how you can put everything inside the same package. Realistically, this should probably be USPS if they all ship together with the same packing number. But if you don't set it up, you can use your custom one here. So we'll say USPS, we can save that. And now when we want to email our customer, we can check these two right here. We get this checkbox because there's a tracking number on it. And we can go up here to email customer shipping number. Now it's going to email the customer from support@ratalsdemo.com because the person who's logged into the admin area, that's the email address that's set up on them. So it's going to email for the person who's logged in. So if you're wanting this to show as your order is shipped or thank you for your order, you're going to probably want to set up an admin user who logs in, who sends these out with that email address if you want specific ones. And then it's going to ship to the email address that we used of support@RatalsDemo. So essentially it's emailing to itself for right now for this demo. And then when we have our editor again, our HTML editor, you'll be able to see the editor. And because we have these two items checked down here with tracking numbers on them, so the checkboxes will display once there's a tracking number on them, what's going to happen is it's going to say, send the tracking numbers right here. Now, because we use the same tracking number on both of them, it's not going to put both tracking numbers in there. It's only going to consolidate, or it's going to consolidate and just send one tracking number. It won't put one in because they're the same thing. However, if these were different tracking numbers, it's going to send both tracking numbers because they're different. Okay, so it'll combine them so that it only has one in the email if that's all it needs. And so anywhere we want to move our tracking number to, if we want to change up our message here, we can just copy this and move it anywhere we want. And if we accidentally lose it, it's right here where we can copy it and put it back into our message. And that's where it's going to put our tracking numbers. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hit send, and it says, hey, the email was sent successfully. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place another order with payment through authorized.net with a card. And we're also going to log into our email where we can see that we got the email account, or where your account was created with us, and that your order, we got your order, thank you for it, and that your order shipped. We'll look at those emails of how they came through. See you in the next video.